Hey everybody, I'm Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, Tormod and Kodama.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Commander's Brew right here on YouTube. We've got another new deck tech for you this week. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what we're creating here on this channel, the audio-wise, video-wise, all that kind of stuff, you can help us out simply by hitting subscribe. But also, if you want to help out directly, it's Patreon. Patreon.com/CommandersBrew. You can go over there, help us create the show, literally help us create the show by becoming a patron and joining our Discord and helping us brew these decks. Right there in our Discord, we're there with our patrons. We're talking about cards. We're brewing up decks. It's a lot of fun. We're also doing things like meetups. We're doing spell table commander games. It's a real community in there, and it's a lot of fun, and everyone's very, very cool. So check it out. Patreon.com/CommandersBrew. There's other perks as well. All right, but without further ado, we're going to get into this week's deck tech. Sean, as Mystical said, show me what you're working with.
Okay.
What is this deck all about?
Yes. So to paint the picture, there's so many partners. I knew I wanted to do 2 monocolor partners. And actually a person who is one of our patrons, Chiefy, created a website that randomly rolls partners and will pair them together. So the plan was to randomly roll 3 pairs, and then in the Discord we kind of just talked it out and we picked our favorite. However, we made a little adjustment to one of them. We actually went outside of this and swapped we got a green-black pair that we ended up using, but we swapped the black commander for a different black commander because we were just like, this one that we have isn't doing anything for us, so we're going to trade it.
Interesting. Okay.
So we use that randomness as a point of inspiration.
Right.
And then we use that inspiration and we ran with it. And I think we got a very cool deck here. So here are the 2 commanders. The black commander is Tormod the Desecrator. He's 3 and a black, legendary zombie wizard, 4/2. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Great. We want creatures to leave the graveyard to make zombies. That's excellent. And the partner that we're pairing him with is Kodama of the East Tree. 4 green for a spirit. 6/6 with reach, Kodama's reach. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, if it wasn't put onto the battlefield with this ability, you may put out another permanent with equal or lesser converted mana cost from your hand onto the battlefield. These commanders don't synergize directly, except for if they're both out, if a creature leaves your graveyard, you create a 2/2 black zombie tapped. That's a 0 mana permanent, so that allows you to put a land from your hand into the battlefield.
Oh yeah.
Or any other, any token will do that. Obviously, you eventually run out of lands. You can't put a million lands out because you don't have a million lands. So we're more interested in doing other things. So we started brainstorming and we looked at the soul shift mechanic. Did I put this one in? Yeah, the next card here is, here's an example of a soul shift card. It's Forked Branch Garami. 3 green for a spirit that's 4/4. It has Soul Shift 4, Soul Shift 4. This might be one of the best Soul Shift cards, but what Soul Shift is, Soul Shift 4 in this case, twice, when this creature, this 4/4 for 5, gets put into a graveyard, when it dies, you may return a spirit with converted mana cost 4 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Since this creature has Soul Shift 4, you get to do that twice. A lot of cards have Soul Shift 2, Soul Shift 5, Soul Shift 3.
You said because it has Soul Shift 4, you get to do it twice, but you only get to do it twice because it says it twice, right?
It says it twice. That's right. Thank you. I missed that. And then the Soul Shift mechanic, you'll notice this is a 5-drop and it has Soul Shift 4. The 3 drops have Soul Shift 2. The 2 drops have Soul Shift 1. And the idea was oh, this is great. We can play a Soul Shift creature, and when it dies, we get to bring spirits back out of the graveyard Tormod sees that, and we get zombies, and Kodama lets us play the soul shift creatures, and then we get to put another spirit or something else out for free. But again, I just couldn't get around the fact that soul shift sucks. Like, it does.
That's not what I thought you were going to say there.
the creatures that have soul shift are bad. Yeah. Until they die, and then you get to soul shift them. But in order to keep this engine running, I have to keep getting back soul shift spirits. Not to mention the implication on the deck is we want to do as many spirits as possible, and like sometimes that well does run out. And like in Black and Green, there are certainly some excellent spirits, but like there's so many other things. I want to get other things too. So here's what we did. We shifted it. We kind of like let me set the scene. So we like the idea of soul shift because imagine whenever you pull a spirit out, Tormod makes a zombie. But instead of soul shift, we're just going to use regular creatures that when they enter the battlefield, they pull a creature back from the graveyard, like a Gravedigger. A Gravedigger kind of card is a million times better than a soul shift card because it gets back anything, even more expensive cards. Yeah. So now, let's think of it this way. If we play a Gravedigger type of card, then Kodama sees that card enter the battlefield. And if we stack our triggers correctly, we can pull the card out of our graveyard to our hand first, then take Kodama's trigger, and if that thing is less or equal to the Gravedigger, we can put it right into play. So we can it's not just a reanimate, it's like bring it right to the battlefield if it's same or less cost.
Right.
Same cost. Soul Shift only goes down. This goes the same way. Like we can get equivalent costs.
You're right, it sucks.
Anyway, Soul Shift sucks.
It sucks.
Like it's a fun idea. It's mostly a Golgari mechanic, so it makes sense, but it's regular is so much better. So let's get with the vegetables. Andy, why don't you lead us off with the vegetables? We're very creature heavy, and we need plenty of creatures that draw lands, that look for lands or draw cards.
Right. Well, Wall of Blossoms is a great one to draw cards. It's 1 and a green for the 0/4 Defender plant wall. When it enters, you draw a card. Being able to recur this obviously makes it very strong. This is just a great commander card in decks that want to do this type of thing. I've seen it pop up a lot. It's really good. Blocks in a pinch as well. We also have Elvish Visionary, another one that will draw us a card when it enters the battlefield. It's a 1 and a green 1/1. This is a bit of a classic creature as well.
And just to paint the picture, like those are both 2-drops. So if Kodama's out and we play an Elvish Visionary, we'll stack the triggers so that we draw first. And if we draw Wall of Blossoms, that one gets to come down for free, and we'll draw another card.
So Kodama says it's equal or lesser?
Equal or lesser.
Equal is crazy.
Yeah, it kind of is.
What are they doing?
I don't know.
This card's busted.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we get to do that cool thing. That's neat.
And then creatures do that with lands too, right? Sylvan Ranger, 1 and a green, 1/1 Elf Scout. When Sylvan Ranger enters, search for a basic, put it in your hand. And very similarly, Gate Creeper Vine, 1 and a green for a 0/2 Defender plant. When it enters, search your library for a gate or a basic, put it into your hand. And if we stack our triggers correctly,
that's right.
We put out the Sylvan Ranger, we make sure that we search with the Ranger first, and then do Kodama's trigger, and we get to put the land we just found into play for free because it's less than 2.
Yes,
or if we have we could also put a 2-drop out, but it is optional to put a 0-drop or a land out.
So Kodama just straight up alone with these type of creatures, the ones that get a land to your hand, turn those into, put it right on the battlefield.
Untapped, if it's a basic.
like if the land is allowed to come into play untapped, it can.
Well, I mean, Sylvan Ranger has to get a basic, so it's going to come in untapped.
Yeah. Wow. That's an interaction, all right. That's
right?
Something.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And of course because we're going to be pulling from our graveyard, we want to be doing that frequently. So we need a lot of graveyard fillers, and there is no better graveyard filler than Stinkweed Imp. Andy, why don't you read this and tell us how well it works with Tormod?
You know it. You love it. Stinkweed Imp is incredible. 2 and a black, 1/2. It's just one of the best dredge cards. Flying, when it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature. So it's essentially Death Touch when it's in combat. And it has Dredge 5. And Dredge is an interesting mechanic whereby Dredge 5, for example, means that whenever we would draw a card, instead of drawing that card, we can choose to take Stinkweed Imp, put it into our hand, and then mill the top 5 from our library into our graveyard. So it fills up the graveyard, also recurs Stinkweed Imp to your hand. Well, think about our boy Tormod. Remove, like, just the dredge mechanic, getting that back to our hand, and then milling not only fills up our graveyard for Tormod, it's going to get us that zombie because Stinkweed Imp is leaving the graveyard and coming to our hand.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe do something stupid with Kodama where you just get to put it right on the battlefield for free.
With something else? Sure.
Yeah, right?
Sure.
Do something where you, like, something comes in and draws a card. So instead you dredge, you get Stinkweed Imp, and you put it back. Like, what? Yeah, bonkers.
Honestly, this deck is full of neat moves.
You know, it's
like this.
It's a shame that this didn't make the neatest list, the definitive list. It's really a shame because it's because on the surface that you're like, what's going on here? You don't know until you see the deck, and then you're like, oh, this is one of the neatest. But technically, not one of the neatest definitive lists. We know this, anyways.
However, there's still some neat moves to be had. So let us get to the neat moves.
Working on a
Neat
move.
Okay.
Andy, would you kick us off with it? So this deck was inspired by Soul Shift, where each creature gets smaller than the one before. But since, like, Kodama lets us just cheat around that... well, not Kodama, but just any creature that brings back creatures is just better anyway. Lead us through our fake Soul Shift chain. We're going to go 5-1.
Okay, so starting us off here, kicking us off, we've got Cavalier of Night, 2 black for the Elemental Knight. It's a 4/5 with lifelink, and whenever it enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice another creature, and when you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. Sweet, enter the battlefield ability there. Yeah. And the second ability says when it dies, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So that's going to also give us a
this
zombie.
This is two enter the battlefield triggers. Kodama gets to put down a 5 or less and then a 3 or less from this.
When
this dies. When it
dies. Yeah. Okay, so the next link in the chain here is Graveshifter, which is 3 and a black for the Shapeshifter. It's a 2/2 changeling. And it says, when it enters the battlefield, you can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is just a Gravedigger. It even has very similar Gravedigger art, but it's a shapeshifter, so it's a free creature type as well. So yeah, bam. This guy comes into the battlefield. We get to bounce a creature from our graveyard back up to our hand.
And if Kodama's out and that creature is 4 CMC or less, we can put it right onto the battlefield.
So bam, your 3-drop goes out. And that 3-drop is Cadaver Imp. 1 black for the 1/1, flying imp. When it enters the battlefield, you can return target creature card. Guess what? From your graveyard to your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? If that was a 2-drop, we get to go Pickkeeper. Pickkeeper, 1 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, if you have 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand.
We probably will.
We probably will. I didn't know this card existed. It's like a cheaper Gravedigger that... situational, obviously, but very good. And then finally, our 1-drop is an enchantment. Omen of the Dead, a single black for the flash enchantment that does the same thing. Enters the battlefield, target creature, graveyard to hand. And then it has the text of 2 and a black, you sack it, and you can scry 2.
So that's sort of our mimicked, like, Soul Shift chain. Those aren't the only things. We'll get to them later on, but there's lots of different ways of getting stuff from the graveyard to the battlefield. I'm going to give a little spoiler alert for a later mechanic that's going to come out. Omen of the Dead has flash. Kodama's ability allows you to do it. So if I flash this in for 1 mana, I'm allowed to put a 1 or 0 CMC from my hand outside of timing restrictions. So I can put 1-drops down. I can put lands down after Omen of the Dead comes in. It doesn't have to be I'm not casting it. I just
because you're not
do
casting it, right? You're just putting
Yeah.
it into play. Yeah,
Yeah.
which doesn't need to abide by any timing restrictions. Cool.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of the change. So where we pulling creatures out, Tormod is making zombies for us, and we're doing more things. Now, another well we kind of dig into a little bit is expensive creatures that we can cast for cheap. That so that Kodama lets us put in bigger things. We want to spend very little mana and put an even larger thing in. So how about Cloud Thresher? Cloud Thresher is 2 green, green, green,
Right.
green. This is a 6 mana card. It's an elemental. It's a 7/7 flash with reach. Again, it's a 6 mana flash, which means we get to put this and another 6-drop from our hand at instant speed off of this one with Kodama. But, okay, so when Cloud Thresher enters, it deals 2 damage to each creature with flying and each player. It'll kill our Stinkweed Imp, but I'm not too... It'll kill Cadaver Imp too, but that's fine. That's fine, that's fine. But it also has Evoke for 2 green, green, which means we get to cast this for pay 4 mana. Kodama sees it, and we get to put a 6-drop into play along with it for free for that 4 mana at instant speed.
That's wild.
It's wild.
That's absolutely
Kodama's
wild.
crazy. Can you take the next cheap but expensive creature?
Yeah, we got the Sib-Sig Muck Draggers, and it's a 9 mana card. It's 8 and a black for a zombie that's a 3/6. Well, it also has Delve. There you go. And when it enters the battlefield, you can return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it does everything we want to do in this deck, really. It even will get, if you're delving and you delve a creature out, you'll even get a zombie just from that. Which is like
You'll get a
small
zombie
bonus,
from the
but-
delve,
Yeah,
and then you'll get a zombie from this from the whatever the Muck Draggers pulls out. But it's a 9 mana card that you can cast for a single black.
Yeah.
That allows you to take another 9 mana card from your graveyard, and with Kodama's triggers stacked correctly, put that 9-drop into play for free off of 1 black mana.
Imagine. And what 9-drops do we have? What things can
You know
we
what?
hit with that?
I don't even think we I didn't go nuts and put like a ton of 9-drops in here. I think like Sepulchral Primordial's like one of the biggest ones in there, which by the way is 4 triggers for Kodama by itself anyway when we rip things out of other people's graveyards.
Well, like even this next one feels like something that can be hit, right?
Oh, it certainly can. This is an 8-drop. This is Torgar Famine Incarnate. 6 black for a legendary avatar. It's a 7/6. But when you cast it, you're allowed to sacrifice any number of creatures, and each one you sacrifice makes it cost 2 less. So you could cast Torgar for 2 black mana and get that 8-drop. And when Torgar enters the battlefield, one target player's life total becomes half their starting life total, rounded down. So it makes someone 20, which maybe that doesn't matter, but maybe it does. But in any case, I'm happy to play 2 mana to also throw down an 8-drop.
Yeah, I love that Torgar is not only one of the creatures that enables this interaction with the sacrificing creatures and so on, but it's also one that you can put out with it, right? Like you do the Sib-Sig Muck Draggers thing, exile a couple cards, and then you get to just drop Torgar without the sacrificing. Just drop him as an 8-drop for free, and then just have someone's life. Like, okay, that seems pretty good. Like he's doing Torgar's doing double duty in here, and that's really good.
Oh man. Yeah, like early game, like a couple turns in, just you manage to get enough in your graveyard to do the Muck Draggers Torgar thing. It's like, there you go, 20, yeah.
I mean, even if you're paying, 3 or 4 for those Muck Draggers, that's not bad either.
Yeah, it's true.
That's fine.
With the bonus.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's another neat move. Multani Yavamaya's Avatar. This is a great creature. It's 4 green, legendary elemental avatar, reach and trample, 0/0, but it gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land in your graveyard. We're milling ourselves a lot. So Multani would be good if Multani ended there, right? Multani would be excellent just for that alone. However, we get to pay 1 and a green to return 2 lands we control to their owner's hand, and then return Multani from your graveyard to your hand. Just to illustrate, if we have Tormod and Kodama out, we can tap a green and a black, return Multani to hand. Well, Tormod saw someone leave the graveyard, so Tormod makes a zombie. Well, that's a 0-drop, so I'm allowed to put a land from my hand onto the battlefield, which is one of the 2 I just picked up from Multani.
Right.
So it really just... And I put it back into play untapped, so it costs me 1 mana.
So it costs you 1 to do Multani's thing.
Okay, but read this next card.
Which is... I was just going to say, which is a sweet... Because Multani is 6 to cast, and sometimes it's like, oh, okay, it's going to be 8 to return Multani, and then the 2 lands. So the fact that you get to do that with it and make Multani just cost 1 to do his thing and then still have that land on tap, like, it really does make a big difference. This card is an underrated commander card. I'm telling you, it's tough to deal with this card. You need exile removal to take care of it, and otherwise it's just this massive, massive beater. Reach and trample, plus it's, the power toughness is crazy. But okay, next card, Desecrated Tomb. 3 colorless for an artifact. Whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Well, if we do Multani's thing while we have a Desecrated Tomb out, we're not just dropping the 1 land, we get to drop 2 because the bat also comes into play, meaning that we can put the other land out too, and now all of a sudden the Multani get it out of the graveyard activation was just completely free.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Incredible. Absolutely. It's so good. Desecrated Tomb is Tormod's best friend.
I didn't build around it, but if we can get our 2 commanders, which we always have access to, and Desecrated Tomb out, Multani becomes an infinite combo if we have a sack outlet that, like, it's getting big, but like we get to sack Multani, pay 2, get a zombie and a bat, and then put those 2 lands right back out. Multani's in the graveyard again. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to tap those 2 lands I just put out, put Multani back into my hand, get a zombie and a bat, put these 2 lands out, and sacrifice Multani, rinse, repeat.
Wait,
infinity
you
times.
still have to cast Multani.
Oh, yeah.
For that to work. You still have to pay the 6 to cast.
That's
so
right. So that's not infinity.
That's not
Never
infinity.
mind. Well, that's why I didn't brew around it.
But it is sweet to be able to get that for free.
It's true. It's
really something. And it almost makes me want to build a whole Landfall deck, a Golgari Landfall deck around that combo, kind of. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, this is a dense, like, I did put way more lands in this deck. I mean, I shouldn't say way more, but I definitely upped my land count because I always, like, you always want to have stuff to do. You always want to take advantage of that. Like, it's always good. Like, if I draw a bunch of lands, I'm like, great, I'm going to put them all down. It's fine.
Incredible. This combo is very fun.
And just to point out another basic but excellent interaction, cards like Golgari Rot Farm or the newly printed Guildless Commons, these are the lands that enter tapped but tap for 2, but the price is you have to return a land you control to its owner's hand. If I stack the triggers right, I put a Golgari Rot Farm down, I bring back a forest that I already spent on something else. Kodama says, like, hey, you want to put on a free 0-drop? I'm like, yeah, this forest that I just happen to have in my hand, right? So, like,
this is not fair. This is not allowed.
It's not fair.
This is not allowed. You can't do that. You can't completely erase the the bounce land thing where it has to, like, you just get the land and it's untapped again. This generates mana.
Yeah.
They should have made it that you can't do it with lands. You know what I mean?
They should have, but Kodama loves lands. You know Kodama loves lands. I know,
Kodama friggin' loves lands. And he loves Kodama's Reach because he gets to play Kodama's Reach, put the land in, and then the one you got from your hand gets to go into the battlefield too.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Wild.
Okay.
That's too much. That's too good.
Well, we got more.
What else? I mean, similarly, actually, to this combo you've got here is Terramorphic Expanse, right? Evolving Wilds, that type of thing. Like, obviously you play the Terramorphic Expanse, you get to maybe play another land for free, and then when you crack the Expanse and or the whatever Evolving Wilds, you same thing, right? New land comes into play, pop another one out from your hand if you like. Wow.
Yeah, if you've got a lot of cards in hand, that's definitely good.
And then obviously other fetches work similarly, and there's some real land shenanigans here with Kodama. That's what's crazy.
It really is. Do you want to take this next one? This is very fun.
Take this one too. We got Masked Admirers here, which is an interesting card. 2 green for the 3/2 Elf Shaman. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. And whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay green. And if you do, you return Masked Admirers from your graveyard to your hand. So 4 to draw a card, right?
Yep.
But this return to hand thing, obviously we're going to be getting a zombie off of that as well, right? And if we do that, that means we get to also drop another land, which means same kind of similarly to Multani, this can basically end up costing us like 1. You know what I mean? Like if we have a land in our hand, we can also get that kind of going.
Well, and then let's think of it this way too. Having this in your graveyard effectively says every creature that you cast that has 4 CMC or greater, you get to say, like, do you want to pay green and draw a card? Because I'm going to cast, let's say I cast my Solemn Simulacrum. Right. Okay, I cast it. Masked Admirers say, do you want to pay green? I'm like, I will pay green. Now they come to my hand. Solemn hits the battlefield. Kodama says, do you want to put another forward drop out? I was like, how about Masked Admirers? It's like, I'll draw a card. Thank you.
I just love every time you say, like, and then Kodama says this, I keep picturing like a tree man just kind of like sneaking in while you're like physically holding your cards, and he's just like, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to put another land into play? It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, at first you're just like, yeah, I do, Kodama. Wicked, yes. Oh, it's so awesome. Feels broken. I'm winning. And then eventually you're just like, you just have so much to do, or you've just heard him enough, and he's like, you put something in, he's like, hey, do you want to do this? It's like, Kodama, I know. It's okay. Kodama. Yes, I do. Every time, yes. Just leave me alone. Yes. He becomes like the Clippy of Magic. She keeps popping up and like, hey, you want to drop another creature in? You want to draw a card?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Every time, leave me alone.
This deck is full of neat moves. I love it so much. There's a couple of win cons I want to cover that are like less neat, I suppose, than the rest. But Sir Conrad the Grim is just perfect here. 3 black, legendary human knight, 5/4. Whenever another creature dies, or a creature goes to the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad deals 1 to each opponent. We're doing so much of that. We're putting them in the graveyard from the battlefield. We're sacrificing them. We're bringing them back out of the graveyard. Conrad does work. We can also pay 1 black to have each player mill a card, which also benefits us a lot.
Also, we've got Decimator of the Provinces, which is a 10 mana card, but it's actually kind of sneakily one of these other, like, drop it, has a big CMC, but we get to drop it for a bit less because it has a merge. 6 green is the merge cost. And what that means is that we can cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost reduced by that creature's CMC. So if we sacrificed, I don't know, something that costs 5, we get to cast this for 4. And then who knows what other crazy shenanigans. I'm sure there's some way where we can just get that creature back immediately because of this degenerate partnership you've created here. But when you cast Decimator, creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. And it itself has trample and haste. It's kind of like a little Craterhoof type effect here. Obviously, the thing I think we keep ignoring in all of this, like these degenerate wheel combo circles, is that we've got a ton of 2/2 zombies because of all the stuff leaving the battlefield all the time, and or bats if we have the other thing out. So yeah, just give them haste, give them +2/+2 and trample, and that's the game, right?
Yeah,
there you go. So I love this card. This card does like kind of triple duty a little bit. This card's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, like this was such a great ad. Someone in the Discord brought up the idea of Emerge, and I was like, yes, this is great. This is off the back of Evoke, because other ways to get cheap creatures.
Yeah.
Like if you can cast a fairly expensive creature, at which, or like maybe you cast something to get a creature back from the graveyard, and then I immediately sacrifice it to Decimator of the Provinces. Like, yeah, you could end up paying 3 for this, but that's a 10 mana spell. So here comes another 10 drop. This also, I mean, I didn't talk about this, but the theme, right? We're talking about playing multiple lands at a time. Obviously, that's great. So early in the game, like all of the mana rocks, I am running mana rocks because they also work. If you play a mana rock, you get to drop another thing for free. Maybe another mana rock. I don't know. So like they're all the type that you get to sack to draw cards, because there's a point where like I've got half my lands out, I don't need many more, like I'd rather have cards,
right?
So that's what those artifacts are all there for.
Did I mention that the Decimator is a 7/7? I don't know if I mentioned that, but it is, and that's notable because it itself is also very scary and big. Also, yeah, okay,
yeah
there you go.
So this deck has been super fun. It was so fun to put together. I want to give a shout out to the people in the Discord. Chiefy for making that randomizer that helped us get to this point. For like,
we'll post that in the notes if people.
Yeah,
wanna,
I will.
That'd be great.
That's fun. Yeah, like it's a very fun little app if you just want some inspiration. I want to thank Madisman, Brave Sir Robin, Micah, Eternities Crafter, Dylan PH, Nerds Flow, Papadio, Werthers, Nosrak 2, Seth. Sorry if I missed anyone. It goes fast and furiously, but I'm starting to come around that if I miss you one week, I'll get you next week. I won't. I'll do my best. Whew. Should we do the budget report?
Let's do it. Tell us about how much we're looking at spending if we want to put this absolutely super fun deck together.
Sure. TCG player mid comes in at $83 and the low comes in at $64. Okay. So that's pretty good. I went to look at the most expensive cards and I was shocked to find that the most expensive card currently at 12 to 16, depending on where you look for it, Agadeem's Awakening, the MDFC Mythic flip land. It's you can pay 3 life to have it come into play untapped as a black source, or black X sorcery, return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that have a different converted mana cost X or less. I already illustrated we've got a little bit of a chain of creatures going down. If you pick the right ones, they themselves can bring more creatures back. Kodama, if you stack the triggers, Kodama can have the ones doing their return effects before the Kodama's thing, so you get to actually put them onto the battlefield. It's an undeniably powerful card, but I don't know, that's too much money. Like
yeah, that's too much. These the mythic ones I know because during my brew from last week I looked up, this is what we're doing now, right? We're looking up MDFCs every time because these are things that just can drop in. The mythics are especially sought after, not only because of standard, not only because and outside of standard, because these are untapped lands. You pay 3 life and these just come into play untapped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is these are just going to be forever expensive because they're just almost every deck in every format is going to at least look at these and be like, should I run a couple of these or what? And then there's going to be lots that do, and obviously some that don't, but a lot that are just going to run these mythics. It's crazy.
Yeah. Not
to mention Commander. We're not even talking about Commander. So yeah, it's wild. These are very, very good cards, and I don't expect them to A, be printed in a while, and B, drop in price for that reason. Panharmonicon's $10. So there you go. That's an expensive card that is going to double up our ETB triggers. Very good card, but yeah, that's quite a bit.
It doubles Kodama's effect too, because the creature enters. Yeah. So now Kodama gets to put 2 4-drops down from your hand, 4 or less drops. Yeah. Unreal. I mean, we do run into the problem in this deck where sometimes you're like, geez, I've dumped my hand too fast. I need to draw more cards. Which is why Guardian Project, which is a $7 card, is pretty, this is one I would absolutely keep. 3 and a green for an enchantment. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if it doesn't have the same name as another creature you control, or another creature card in your graveyard, which is true for everything because it's a singleton format, you draw a card. This keeps this amps, this means you never run out of gas ever. This might be one of the best cards in the whole deck.
This card is it's really good, and I remember when it first came out, we were all about it, of course, as we should. But $7 for this effect now? There's a lot of effects like this in green. And if you're looking to save money, I mean, look for some other things. Look for your shamanic revelations. Look for your Garrick's pack leader, that kind of stuff. Even the recent one, Garrick's, what was it? It's the one.
Oh, Garrick's Uprising.
Yeah, Garrick's Uprising. Look at that card. I mean, it's different stipulations. Obviously, Guardian Project. It's probably better in this deck because I know there's like some smaller power toughness creatures, but for the bigger ones, like, you don't need this card for that. So for your other decks, I mean, $7. Wow, that really shot up there. That really got up there.
I'm gonna mention a card that got cheap. Surprisingly, we were like, you know what would be good in this deck? Marin of Clan Neltoth, but now we don't have the budget for it.
Right.
$6.
How did that happen?
Mystery Booster.
Oh.
Thank you once again to the Mystery Booster for making Marin of Clan Neltoth $6. 3/4 Human Shaman for 2 black-green. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter, and at the beginning of your end step, choose any creature in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to your experience counters, return to the battlefield. But if it's more than their experience counters, put it back in your hand. Marin's incredible. We know this. We've known this the day Marin came out, but now she's only $6. I'll take it.
Yeah, wow. Hashtag Wizard Sticks. Big time on that one. Mystery boosters, or as I like to call them, secret packs, did a great job of bringing down a lot of like cards that you didn't expect to be reprinted and stuff like that. So really good, really great. Happy to see that. And what if we had no budget limit? What if we're just going to stretch our minds and we were like, you know what, let's just throw them in and who cares? Sidisi Undead Vizier, great one to have. I often think of this card when I'm brewing. 3 black for the 4/6 with Death Touch, and it has Exploit, which means if you sack a creature, you get to have this other effect. And the effect here is you get to tutor for something. Put it right in your hand if you're going to exploit another creature you have out there. I guess I'm kind of surprised by this card because it's a 5 mana tutor. And like 4 mana sorcery tutor isn't good. Do you know what I mean? So like, and I get it, like this is recurable because it's on a creature, but there's still like more setup cost here. It itself is also legendary. But think about this, Sean. Isn't this like we were talking about this last week? Wouldn't this be a cool one to have partner on?
Ooh.
Monocolor legendary. Put a partner on this and we're talking.
Wow. This might be one of the broken ones. Just stapling a tutor to any legend you want. That's pretty bad.
Still, though, I mean, this card's a little expensive. We're looking at $9-10 for this guy.
And it doesn't work with Kodama the way you might hope because the exploit trigger happens when Sidisi enters the battlefield. And Kodama's trigger happens at the same time. So if
Can we not sacrifice Sidisi to itself?
Wait, so does this work? So Sidisi enters. I'm going to put Sidisi's exploit before Kodama's put a free thing down. So I'm going to put a free 5-drop down, but the exploit, I sack a creature and I put a 5-drop in my hand. I get to put that permanent onto the battlefield with Kodama's trigger. Will I get to do that in time?
So if I cast Sidisi and I've got an exploit trigger and Kodama's trigger on the stack, right?
Yeah.
So I'll stack it so that I sacrifice Sidisi herself and then go search for something. Then I get the thing in my hand, and then Kodama's trigger is resolving, and then I can put that thing into play.
Well, here's where I'm not sure because so 2 triggers go on the stack right away: Kodama and Sidisi's exploit. I want to do the exploit first, and I want to do Kodama's second.
Yeah.
So I do the exploit first. I sack a wall of blossoms.
Oh, okay. I was only thinking of sacrificing herself, but whatever.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. It's the same thing.
Doesn't matter?
Yeah.
But now it says when Sidisi exploits, search your library. So now I have a new trigger that goes on the stack, and it has to be behind Kodama's thing.
But that's not how it works, right? It goes last on, first up, right? So like
right, but I haven't exploited yet, right? The trigger to exploit and Kodama's free 5-drop go on the stack.
Yeah.
When I exploit, Kodama's waiting in line. Then a new trigger, which is the tutor effect, goes on the stack.
Yeah, and that goes on first. It goes on.
No, it goes on last. It goes on it goes on the top of the stack. But Kodama's effect is under it. We will resolve that one first.
Have I lost my mind?
Have I lost my mind?
I think maybe one of us certainly has. I think it's you.
Wait.
So the last thing that goes on the stack is the first thing to be
first thing
resolved.
that resolves. Yes, so we do get to do... Oh,
Yeah.
so this does work. Okay.
Yeah.
I talked myself into a loop. I got
Yeah,
confused.
Yeah,
I'm back.
okay. I'm glad
Yes.
I'm glad I'm not losing my mind.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. There you go. We just ran through some of the, I want to say basic rules of Magic, but let's face it, that's not basic stuff. That's like mid-level Magic rules that I guarantee you like half the player base is like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. So don't feel bad about forgetting, because I forget that kind of stuff all the time.
And then just in the budget theme, obviously, if we had unlimited budget, we would include all black or green fetch lands, even like those Zendikar ones, because that's just like extra free triggers is wonderful to have. With unlimited budget, sure, throw another $300 into the deck.
This is one that, hey, just keep reprinting these too.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why didn't you throw those in the mystery? Throw those in secret packs. People buy them like crazy.
Yeah.
Get to see those in secret packs. Okay. I'm listening.
Aren't we owed? Didn't they say by the end of 2020 we would get something that would reprint fetches?
I think they did. I think they did say that. Something like that. Something akin to that at the very least. And also, I just want to say, disclaimer, I am not complaining about secret packs. I friggin' love secret packs. I love everything they did with them. Don't change a thing, secret packs. You're great. Especially your name, which is obviously secret packs. Yeah. Okay. Wow. We have a big... commitment now.
Yes, we do.
Right.
We're giving out an award at the Audra Awards.
Yeah, and we do this. Some say we do this every week. Right. Some people say that.
It's an honor.
It is an honor, and some people say that we, every time we do it, it loses its specialness somehow.
Oh, because it's too frequent?
Yeah, but that's wrong.
Oh no, yeah, right.
It's a special awards. It's something that it's given out every week, but the prestige around it is real,
Right. And have you not noticed there's new awards all the time?
Exactly. Like it's an interesting format that they've decided to do though, where they have like an unlimited amount of awards, I guess. And they're doing it 1 week at a time, only one on each show, sometimes two, but mostly really just one.
Well, no, but that's because of our sick agent that negotiate us. We get to present every award.
Also, we've influenced that decision.
They would have loved to give out all these awards at once, but
okay.
We have a great agent.
So we've made it, and our agent has made it so that this is the longest award show in history, the longest single award show, because that's basically what it is, right?
Yeah,
they're already pretty long.
This is an ongoing. I mean, award shows are always long.
Yeah, they're too long. And guess what? We're gonna make this one even longer. All right, so let's get our texts ready to go, and let's head over to the Audra Awards.
Okay.
Oh wow! Absolutely. Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to be here. Sean, who do you see? Who do you see in the crowd out there?
I see great. I see greatness out in the crowd. Hello, Neheb. Thank you for being here. It is wonderful to see you. You look great.
I see Marin of Clan Neltoth. Marin, it's good. It feels like you used to be too good for this award show, and now you actually are here. You've kind of dropped in price.
And is that Pierce Brosnan? Top 5 James Bonds easily. Brosnan,
easily top 5 James Bonds. How many have there been? Something
6?
like 6 or 7. So you know what? That's a nice, robust compliment. You're definitely better than George Lazenby and Timothy Dalton. Let's just say that. Congratulations. Well, let's get on to the award here. This is a special one. This is going to be good.
Yes. The award for biggest buff bod transformation goes to the Crypt Keeper on Golgari Charm. We all know Golgari Charm is black-green, instant choose one. All creatures get -1/-1. destroy target enchantment, or regenerate each creature you control. But this is about the Crypt Keeper, who we remember as being like just a wisp
Skinny
of a mummy.
little guy. Yeah, just
Yes.
the real skin and bones. Barely any skin, really.
But look at his buff bod transformation. Astounding Crypt Keeper.
That is-
An inspiration to us all.
That is definitely the Crypt Keeper on Golgari Charm. There's no two ways about that. And yeah, he's been working out and looking sharp.
Yes.
Sharp claws, sharp cut abs. Like he's got those side underarm abs that they only draw in comic books. Like he's really buffing out.
Yeah. Like I can only imagine how much bulking up you did and then cutting you did to get this.
So much cutting. So much. Golgari Charm featuring the Crypt Keeper. Thank you very much. And that will do it for this installment of the Audra Awards. Again, join us next week where we will have yet another one award to give away. Making this the longest award show in the history of the world. Wonderful stuff. Thanks everyone for being here with us in the wonderful Avison Theater here in beautiful downtown Innistrad. And for being here with us on Commander's Brew. And we will see everyone again next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCG Player affiliate link below.
That helps us out too, and for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.